We're hitting the record button. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. If you can hear me, if you would pop in the chat. Diana says, good afternoon. Actually, Diana, it is still, oh, yeah, it is afternoon for you guys, isn't it? It is 4 o'clock in the morning here in Bangkok. If you guys can hear me, if you just pop in the chat, let me know where you're coming in from. I know some of you are coming in from Winnipeg, and Jocelyn, God knows where you are because you are all over the world. But just pop in the chat. Let me know what you're answering me, so therefore you can hear me. We're going to do something very different today. So this is going to be a participant. Martin, you're in from Norway. Congratulations. Okay, I wasn't quite sure whether that was you or not because I saw a different last name. Steve's coming in from Oz, so you are here at 9 a.m. Oh, from Melbourne, yeah. Dan's in Ontario, fantastic. Yes, I see it as you. Great. Ferdy's in from Adelaide, excellent. Michaela, yes, let's just do it. This is about let's just do it. Today we're going to do something different. First of all, just a couple of ground rules as to what we're going to do before I go ahead and play with this. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long, long time, and it's finally happened. And just do it is really going to be the mantra for today. Actually, there are a few things that we're going to be mantraing today. But what I'm going to do in just a second is I'm going to start to unmute all of you. And this, so if you've got noise in the background, what I'm going to do just as we do this, be mindful of that. You can mute yourself by just looking at the microphone to the left of your name, and just clicking it, and you can mute yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up so that way this can be a discussion. We're going to go for about, and actually I can even show you what we're going to do is we're going to go for about 60 to 90 minutes. It says 60 minutes or less. A fat chance, if those of you that know me. But we're not going a minute longer than 90. That much I can promise you, because this boy's got to get himself to the airport to fly back to the USA for the marketer's cruise. So there is a business class seat waiting for me on an A380 airplane, and I'm going to be on that plane. So we're going to be strictly on time today. Next, questions and discussions are cool. Actually, they are. The screen is scrambled. Renata, I don't know what to tell you. Is the screen scrambled for anybody else? And by the way, the business class thing is miles, because I got to use the miles up. I have to use the miles up because they devalue at the end of this month. Okay, Michaela says the screen looks fine. So Renata, you may need to just refresh or come back out, go out and come back in or something. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Saeed. Jocelyn says the screen is okay. So, and the last thing is fun is expected, anticipated, and required. so that's what we're going to do for the next 90 minutes is really have a dialogue and a discussion. I do have some agenda for everybody. We're going to get into that. And like I said, I do want to unmute you. So for those of you that are not used to this, we do this on the masterminds. And I want to just be mindful of that. So, or for you. So let me see if I can do it. I think I'd be able to unmute you. No, I can only mute everybody simultaneously. I can't unmute you simultaneously. So I'm going to just send you guys PIN numbers and unmute you one by one. So bear with me for a second. Hey, Debbie. I owe you an email, Debbie. I apologize. I will get that to you, I promise. Elson, thrilled to have you here, sir. Okay, and if you are echoing, I'll let you know. And if we are echoing, I'll ask you just to mute yourself. And you can pop in whenever you want to, just by unmuting yourself. Those of you that have been coming out of the masterminds and the site rep masterminds, you know the drill. So we're just going to do this the right way. Let's want to get you all unmuted before you actually start because I can't unmute and focus on what my slides are about to be. Why can't I unmute you, Martin? I'm trying to unmute you, but it won't let me for some reason. Uh-oh, something just fell. You did. Okay, don't know why. Hey, Steve. Hey, Sheila. Okay, somebody's making a bunch of noise in the background. Okay, Jeff, if you can mute yourself, that would be cool. Okay. All right. So are you guys ready? You're all unmuted. You can talk to me now. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, Ken. Aloha.
Aloha. Great.
Aloha. That's nice. Rock and roll, Ken.
All right. Well, cool. This is fun. Is my middle name? Jocelyn says that's great. Yes, I expected it is. So today, here's what we're going to do. Okay. Now we are recording this. Okay. So please be mindful, like I said, about the audio. Okay. There's somebody making some noise in the background, and I can't monitor it terribly well. If I see who it is, I will yell at you. But if you guys can mute yourself, then if you're not talking, that'd be really cool. All right. So number one, what you're going to talk about is why goals are BS. Okay, I can't tell who that. Wilna, if you could do me a favor, mute yourself, please, or I will do it for you.
Hi, Ken.
Hi there. If you can mute yourself, that would be cool. You got some background noise, and it would be really helpful.
Sure.
Just click
Yeah,
on the
sure.
click on the microphone near your. There you go. Thank you. And maybe it's Jeff. I bet you it's Jeff. I betcha it's Jeff. Let me see. Yeah, no, Jeff muted himself. Okay. Well, let's see. Jocelyn, would you do me? Can you do me a favor, Jocelyn? If I make you an organizer, would you kind of keep half
What?
an eye on them? Okay, cool. I'm going to upgrade you. That'll help me so I can press on here. All right. Whoops. All right. Let's go back here. So what we're going to do today is this. Number one, why goals are BS.
Yeah, you have to tell me what to do now.
Oh, okay. If you just see noise coming through, you'll see there's like an audio section. If another name pops up under in the audio area, that'll be them making noise, and you can just mute them. And that's pretty much it, really. Okay, so anyway, let's get to it. Why goals are BS? We're going to talk about that in just a couple of seconds. We're then going to talk about what really matters. And we'll do some other cool stuff, which will surprise you and probably surprise me because this is about you today. So I don't have a massive agenda. This is not a presentation so much as it is a dialogue. There's nothing that's going to be sold today. This is really to celebrate you guys. And I want to make sure that that's really clear. I am going to answer a couple things, and I will have something to talk to you about. I guess I am selling you something because I'm selling you on you, and I'm selling you on the trip to Nepal because I want to play with y'all. So there's that, but there's no product, there's no credit card today, so you can put any of that stuff away. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the new Institute for Totalpreneurship, which is my dream, and I'm going to share it with you because it's now live. The website isn't ready really, but we're going for it. So, are you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. Some of you muted, so I know you can't respond as quickly, but just pop in whenever you're ready. So, why are goals BS? It comes down to really to one word, and that is why. And the why is this. See, we set goals because in most cases we think we want something. We set goals because they sound good, they feel good, they look good in your mind. But at the end of the day, we don't really have the big why behind all that. And because the meaning of it isn't strong enough, we don't do it. I mean, all the planning and your mailboxes, if you're like mine, have been overflowing over the past couple of weeks with 2004 this, 2004 that, and for those of you that got our revolution for resolutions, rather not revolution, but it is a revolution. I hope for success. I mounted that program, and I mounted it really as a beginning of a lead generation program, a beginning of a dialogue for the year, and I thought we would be more effective than we were, but then as my mailbox exploded with everyone and their brother-in-law, I mean everyone with 2004 items, we got lost in the shuffle. And here's the deal: at the end of the day, all the resolutions in the world fall apart for one big reason. There's not a big enough why. There's not a big enough reason behind it that people have given things. I mean, why am I losing? Why do I want to go on a diet? Well, because I'll look better. Well, looking better, what does that mean? What's the meaning attributed to it? I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. How many of you guys know smokers that keep talking about, I should quit, I should quit? Now, we all know, right? Right? Kind of redundant.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the biggest lie ever, But they say that, and here's what happens when someone finally does. Something compelling happens in their life. And for one person, I remember hearing the story, it was like, he said, when my daughter sat in my lap and said, Daddy, are you going to die? And he asked why, and she said, because you're smoking and smokers die. And that did it for him. And that was it. It pushed him over the edge. None of the stuff mattered. All of the addictive BS that went along with it, none of that mattered anymore. It was his daughter didn't want to watch Daddy die. And it scared the hell out of him. So that why was so important. It drove that guy to stop the behavior. It's funny. I never did drugs. Okay. Never ever had the desire. I made a pact with myself. I think it was even unconscious in school that I was never going to do any of that stuff. And I guess I knew inside that if I did it, I'd probably be in big trouble because if I liked it, I'd keep doing it and doing it. And I never did that. Now, and by the way, when I say drugs, I mean anything except marijuana. Yes, I did inhale, and don't do any of that because it puts me to sleep. But the point is this: is there's got to be a big enough why. I knew that my why is that I would destroy my life if I did something like that. I knew that inherently. I've had no desire whatsoever. The past 2 weeks, I've had no carbs until about 2 hours ago, and I didn't do it because I wanted to make myself look better for the cruise. The why is the most important thing ever. So as I passed by the bakeries, as I had friends eating watermelon in front of me and eating all the fruit that's 100% sugar, all that stuff, I had no desire. Well, okay, I had a little bit of desire. Okay, as I passed the pizza place, I had a lot of desire, but the why was important enough. So you got to know what your why is, and once you know what that why is, the rest of it is real. And let me come back to it. Once the why is so compelling for you, then the rest of it's easy. Then you will do what it takes. And all those planning tools and all that stuff that's out there will do nothing for you if what you want isn't important enough. Does that make sense?
Yep.
How about the rest of you guys? Does that make sense? You can pop in. And I'll even look at the question box too at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get sound bites of all the odd sounds. Yeah, that's right. Okay, Martin, can you hear me now? Because I saw you had a thing that says you can't hear me. Safari says, yeah, it sure does. Yeah, I think it really does. And I find that with so many people. So we're going to talk a little about what's important for you in just a couple minutes. Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions. Oh, I guess, wow, it went down. We went past that so fast. How about that? Wow. I thought I had a lot more slides. Okay, so let's talk about what the important stuff is. I have something special to show you. Actually, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it here
Oh,
for a
I
second.
can't wait.
Wait a minute. I'm going to leave it this way. No, I'm going to show me. I'm going to talk to you about it though. Here's what I want to ask you. I want to ask you some questions, and you can write these, you can think these, you can answer to yourself, or you can even just answer them to me, uh, verbally if you want to pop them in. That's totally cool. Let me just get to the page I want to go through. Okay, these are just my notes I'm going through here, and they're not in any particular order. So here's the thing. In what you're doing in your business and in your life, okay, are you happy with where you are now? If you are, fantastic. You don't have a lot of ambition. You don't need a lot of ambition. But if you're not, if you got something that's just not enough, if you got some, well, that's a fun sound. If and maybe that was just a sound effect for this. But if you want more in your business, what is it more that you want? And now we get down to what is that going to look like? Okay. In other words, what's your business doing today? And what do you want to be doing, let's say, at the end of the year? What do you want to accomplish by the end of the year? And when I say even your business, I'm talking about your business and your life and your lifestyle. Your business is one thing, your lifestyle is another. Wouldn't it be nice if the two of them merged together? I was talking to Martin the other day, and we were talking about business. And what was interesting, there are a lot of people that will talk about starting a business that is something you have no passion for. I remember someone saying, you should open up a plumbing business because every decision you make in that plumbing business is going to be a decision that's made. If you're not a passionate plumber, for example, it's going to be a decision that's made not on emotion, but on pragmatics. It's going to be a decision that's made on objectiveness as opposed to on emotion. Now, if you're in real estate business as a real estate investor, when I trained at real estate investors for years and years, I created the 11th commandment, which was thou shalt not get emotionally involved in real estate. But that same commandment follows for all of us in business too, right? So when we talk about what business should you be in, you can run that plumbing business. And if you're a plumber, I don't want to discount plumbing because I actually love doing piping and stuff when I'm rehabbing houses. But the point is this. I think there's more to our business and more to our lives than just doing something for the money. Do you guys agree with that? Does that work for you guys? Silence on the line. You guys probably muted yourselves. Okay, if you can pop in the chat if you want, and I'll just kind of repeat that if you're muted. But do you guys think that there's more, and do you believe that there's more to it than just the
Hi.
money side of it? I mean, I know you guys do, but I want to hear.
Can I tell a story?
Yeah,
Can I tell a story?
absolutely. Is it clean?
Um,
Is it clean?
yeah, actually it is clean, but I
No,
can tell a dirty story if you prefer.
no. Do the clean one first.
No. Okay, I will. Um, I went the first event that I ever went to. There was a millionaire marketer who got up and gave a pretty awesome presentation. But and he said if anybody wants to, he said one of the things that you can do is if you really want to get somebody's attention is take them to breakfast or buy them a drink or run into them in some social way and do something for them because they won't expect it. So I went up afterwards and I asked this millionaire if he'd go to breakfast with me, and he did. And as we're sitting there, he said, "Okay, what can I do for you?" And I said, "Well, I lived in Asia for a long time, and whenever you're building business relationships, I learned to build a friendship first to see if we're suitable, see if we're compatible, that we do business." And he looked at me, he said, you're kind of odd. Usually people are asking me for something." And he said, "What is it that you want? What is your goal? What's your ultimate goal?" And I went, it's world peace, I guess.
Hmm.
That would be ultimate.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, "Oh, that's impossible." I said, "Well," I said, "You just got up in front of on a stage and you said that you made, after going bankrupt, you made $1 million in 30 days. Most people would say that's impossible." He said, "Oh, well, that's because they don't have the mindset." I said, "Yeah, well, what about the mindset for peace?" "Oh, that's impossible." No, he just kept saying impossible. Well, when I went on the cruise with you last year, and
Hmm.
I'm beginning to think that maybe I told the story before, but it's just apropos to tell you right now,
Sure.
is that in the mindset that in a mind, Jennifer, what was that called? The mind. Mastermind.
There
We
you
sat
go.
at a mastermind,
Hmm.
and there were a couple of uber wealthy guys sitting there, and I didn't know we were being put on the hot seat. And they turned to me and they said, "Okay, so what is your goal?" I guess I was number one, and I was kind of freaked out by it. And so I thought I'd be jocular and say, world peace. I want world peace. And they sat up and they went, "That's interesting. How are you going to do that?" And all of a sudden I thought, wow, when you've got the right crowd and you've got the right power behind you, you can really accomplish anything you want. And it made me really stop and think that you can't lose sight of your dream no matter what anybody says to you. And if you're going to dream, you may as well dream big.
Yeah, I'll drink
Do you
to
want the
that.
dirty story now?
If it works in conjunction with this story, great. If not, hold it till later.
No. Leave it
Okay.
till later.
All right, we'll hold it till later then. Okay, so let me jump in on that because that's really important. Uh, the key truly is mindset. And here's the interesting thing: the I'm still reading a book, still reading this. It's called the War of Art, and every one of you should be reading that
Oh,
book.
good one, yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Pressfield wrote the story of Bagger Vance, the legend of Bagger Vance, whatever it is, the Bagger Vance story that became a movie. Legend of Bagger Vance. That's it. And in his book, which is tremendous, and there's you can download it for free online. You can, I mean, I always look online to see if I can find something as a free download rather than buying the book. I don't know what the link is. You can search it, and probably it's better if you find it than if I provide it to you, because A, you're more motivated to get it, and B, Stephen would probably rather me not promote a free download of his book, but get it and read it. The big lesson that I've gotten out of it so far is this one giant word. You can write this word down, and if you don't, it'll be perfect for you not to write it down because the word is resistance. Resistance. We resist everything. And some of the things that are most important for us, we resist. So he would talk about the resistance when he's writing about, well, I'm going to clean the house, or I got to take the kids to school, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. And all that's resistance. It all gets in the way of the ultimate. And the way you overcome it is by just, to follow Richard Branson's comment, screw it, just do it. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to that. It's like, I'm just going to do this. I was listening to, this is long before he passed. Oh God, I'm going blank on his name right now. One of the most prolific motivational book writers in history. And we used to be an insurance agent. I'm going Og Mandino. Og Mandino was speaking at the National Speakers Association a number of years ago, and when people asked Og, how did you get to write? How did you write all these books? You were working full time. You've written, I think it was like 30 or 40 or whatever books, and many of them were bestsellers. And he said this. He said, bottom line was this: I woke up an hour earlier every day. That's all it was. I woke up an hour earlier every day and I wrote, and I was diligent about doing that. So the question I'm going to ask all of you is your why strong enough to get your ass out of bed an hour earlier every day or to stay up an hour later? I recommend getting up earlier. But either way, is your why strong enough to motivate you to be that dedicated and to overcome that resistance? You see, we can talk about all the planning things in the world, and I don't know if you're like me, but I've got so many different planning softwares and this and that are supposed to organize my goal setting and my processes and all that. And it's like I feel good when I'm getting it, and maybe I use it for a few weeks, and it goes away. The most important stuff gets done, always does. So rather than getting wrapped up in process, let's get wrapped up in meaning, in the why, and then it'll fall into place. And it's interesting how things fall into place almost automatically when the why is in place, when you can visualize it and feel it and have that passion for peace or have that passion for whatever your business of helping and healing and enhancing people's lives and whatever it is that you do. And I'll give you something else. We had a Q&A session for our Passion to Profits course yesterday. Gina Gaudio Graves, I can't even pronounce her name now. Gina Gaudio Graves and I have this course called Passion to Profits, and we do a monthly call, 2 hours, with all of our students. And yesterday, somebody was talking about why he couldn't get his website up. And, it was just that one giant word of resistance because he wanted it to be perfect. And how many of you guys are perfectionists? You can just like jump in. How many of you guys are perfectionists? And how many of you won't admit it if you are? I see hands going up too, right? So here's the deal with perfectionism. It's another element of resistance. It's another element of avoidance. I'll give you an example. We want to make it perfect and we want the right image, but sometimes perfect sucks. And what I mean is sometimes the more perfect you are, particularly on your websites and on your marketing, you look too slick and you don't look real. I mean, how many marketers, how many presenters, how many speakers will do a webinar and open it up like this? Not a lot. Especially when they're trying to sell something. They're not going to have a dialogue because they're afraid that if it takes them off of their game, they're not going to sell, or they're going to say the wrong thing, or they don't know their material because they know the presentation, but they can't adapt. It's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me as a speaker, and I've been speaking for, my God, well over a quarter of a century. I am dating myself. But it has always amazed me when speakers cannot adapt, cannot make changes in their presentations without rehearsing them multiple times. They've always said to me, and when I was speaking for the Russ Whitney organization, I won numerous awards that they created for me. And it was like most versatile speaker. And I'm like, what do you mean versatile? You just do what you need to do. Be real to the audience. And it needs to be that way in your business too, because people buy you. People are buying you. And I want to empower that with you. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to do something. You need to let that resistance go away. Okay. And by the way, it's still going to be there. Understand that it's going to be a struggle for the rest of your life. So as much as you may want to say it'll be over soon, it won't be, because you'll resist something else. It's just nature. If you don't have resistance, if you don't have pressure, there's no room for growth. Think about it. If you take your left hand and put it where you are right now and put your right hand where you want to be in the future, there's a distance between the two because they're not together. So inherently, there is some element of friction, there's some element of resistance, push and pull from today to the future, and you've got to manage that to get from one side to the other. Does that make some sense? You guys following that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool. So I can't see you guys nodding like I would in a live event. But the thing is this, and I was listening to Robert Fritz. I was at a conference, a seminar by him a few years ago in New Jersey, and Fritz is great. He's a genius guy, really really creative guy. He wrote the book. Um, oh God, he wrote a number of really good books. And of course, I'm going to forget the name right now, but they'll come to me in a minute. But I keep wanting to say the War of Art, but it's not that. Uh, Nonetheless, Fricks talks about building a bridge to get from one side to the other. You've got to do that. He also says that no matter how depressed you are today, you're going to be depressed for the rest of your life. You're screwed up forever. Get over it. He's not about let's go and dissect what happened when you were 4 years old and why mommy and daddy hated you and why the kids beat you up in school and why your teacher never liked you and all this stuff. Because all that stuff is garbage. It's the past and you can't change it. It's what was. You can give it new meaning, but it's still going to be there, right? We are all screwed up. We are all damaged and we will always be damaged. We're human. And what he talked about was the minute you can accept that, excuse me, the element of damage, then you can create art. Then you can go from there and create art. Accept where you are. So if we're wrapped up, and by the way, I want you to understand that in my saga for the past 3 years, I've been punishing myself for the past, and far more than anybody else could possibly do. I was the world's worst friend to myself and limited myself dramatically. And can any of you guys relate to that for yourselves, where maybe you haven't given yourself permission to succeed?
Oh yeah, I can relate.
Yeah. What's really interesting is that the minute you begin to forgive, and not just others, but really the person that's most important to forgive is yourself, magic will start to happen. And a few months ago, I finally did. I finally said, time out. This is stupid. I'm struggling and I'm a high income earner, but yet I'm not letting myself have that privilege anymore because I failed. I failed a few years ago. When the economy crashed, I lost everything I had. And I blame myself for mistakes that were made that who would have ever thought, right? So that level of punishment, I'm good at that. I was raised with that. I was raised with guilt. I was raised with all that. Bottom line is it doesn't serve. So how do we build this year? How do we go into effectiveness? How do we get past resistance? And it comes back to that same word. It comes back to that why. So what's your business doing right now? Where do you want it to be? What do you want it? What are you going to need to do? That's all mechanics. The biggest question is this: that if you have a challenge right now, and every single one of us has a challenge right now in whatever fashion, we need to look at what the challenge is and what happens if we don't overcome that challenge. So, for example, if our challenge is to double the size of our business because uh, we want to build a new house for our kids, for example. Okay, if we don't meet those income goals, we can't build the house. We'll be living in the crowded house that we're currently in, not living the lifestyle I want them to have, and not really be the parent that I want to be. Is that big enough? Maybe, maybe. Uh, you've got to make it as big and hairy and audacious goal that you taste. I'm going to give you maybe a little bit of a challenge, and I'm going to actually go a little bit out of the order of which I wanted to do. But let me show this to you. Uh, Hang on a second. Okay, the Institute for Totalpreneurship. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But here's my dream for you. Okay, and actually it starts here with Excalibur. Some of you guys have heard about it, and for those of you that are new that don't know me, let me share this for you because this is really where I live. This is my dream, and I put this off for 6 years. Actually, it's a little bit over 6 years. Pitiful, isn't it? Tony Robbins has an amazing program. He totally does. And Tony's high-end coaching program is called the Platinum Partnership. It's 50,000 or 65,000. I think it's 65,000 with the donation tied into it per year. And after all the trips are counted, because there's trips that go all over the world, it's about $100,000 a year package is what it is. 100 grand, which means you got to be at a significant level in your life to be able to go to any of these platinum things. It's very, very costly. Robert Fritz, Michael Fritz. I'm sorry, Robert Fritz. Forgive me, Robert Fritz. Anyway, So I knew, by the way, as I even walked into Tony's first event, because I had heard about his program. I knew I was going to buy it even before I even got into the room. I mean, I had already sold myself into it. I mean, kind of interesting that before I even walked into his first course, I knew I was buying that top level program. I knew it. I was going to do it, and I did it. I did it, and it was an amazing year. It was an absolutely amazing year. We rode the Orient Express from Paris to Venice. We went on safari in Africa. We um, we went up to Whistler in Canada, which is not any great exotic place for me because I go there a lot or used to. But we we jumped off a bridge in the middle of the night, like 300 feet deep into a ravine, with a bungee. Thank goodness, obviously, because I'm still alive to tell you. Scary as hell. And I'll tell you, I did not enjoy it. Did not enjoy it. But here's the thing: it was an amazing, amazing year, an amazing adventure. I met some really cool people. I did not want it to stop. Tony's failure with his program is that he was not good at renewal, which is shameful because it could be a really good continuity program where people would stay and live the lifestyle forever. But they never did much to continue that. So I decided I wanted everyone to stay and as alumni and stay in the same mindset of prosperity, of helping, of abundance, of contribution to others. Because every trip that we went on, we did some kind of contribution. And it was really, really fun because it was mostly with kids. So I wanted to do the same thing, and thus I created the Excalibur Society, and I was going out to a bunch of different groups, and I also went to the platinum partners and said, when you leave platinum, if you don't renew platinum, come, let's continue the process. Well, Tony's people were not very happy, and they threatened to sue me. And effectively, they shut me down because they had a bigger budget than I did, for sure. At that point, you're whipped. When you got a multi-gazillion-dollar company breathing down your neck. Tony's got a lot of lawyers. I got shut down. Even and they wouldn't talk to me. They would not talk to me. Um, yeah, yeah, Sheila, I love Whistler. It's like my favorite place. So anyway, I had to stop. I stopped Excalibur, and and they kicked me out of Platinum too. They kicked me out, which devastated me. I mean, it was like the ultimate rejection. So I had the dream. I still wanted to continue the process. I still wanted to hang out with my friends from all over the world. And it was just something that just stayed. But it had to go in the background. It was just like hiding in the back. And I've talked to people about it for the past year or so. Talked to my friend Gina about it, and we looked at that as being the back end to one of her programs and the back end to my program. Because as you build your business, I want you to think about building your business for the big picture, for what really drives you. So, for example, Michaela, you want world peace. What's that going to look like? What's the big, hairy, audacious goal that's going to get you there? Is it a group that you're going to create that's going to be a giant mastermind or whatever? Whatever it is, is it a big coaching program? What is it? For me, it's Excalibur. And Excalibur is going to be not inexpensive. It's going to involve like 4 trips around the world, or to different exotic parts of the world, starting in Nepal in May. I'm sorry, we moved it. We moved it from May to September, and we did that because there's a really great festival that takes place, and I want you guys to be able to experience that, and it also gives more time to market it. This is me at the top of Poon Hill at sunrise. Poon Hill is 3,300 meters. I think it's 33 or 3,900 meters. And you're looking at just magnificent glory. And my mom is 79 years old. She went with me. So here's my thing. And I just want you to experience this. I want you guys to come with me. We're going to do this thing in September. I can't tell where that sound's coming from, but if you're making an adjustment, maybe it's you, Ferdy. I want all of you guys to come. And so here's my audacious goal. I want you all to come. I recognize that unless I get you all trained, unless I get you to the point where in your lives you're earning enough income to be able to afford not just the cost of the trip, which will be a few $1,000s, obviously. It's going to be 13 days. But you've also got to be able to afford the time, because it's going to be it's 13 days. And we're going to have internet and everything. You're not going to be like sitting there completely out of touch. I mean, even at the places on the side of the mountain where we're staying at night, they crank up the generator and turn on the Wi-Fi, so you can still have your online business and still check in and check your sales. But the ability to have that lifestyle requires that you have your act together. So what's your big why? What's the big motivator for you? For me, it's being able to get my act together so I can provide you guys with the tools, the technology, and the support to help you build that business, right? What do you want? What's your big thing? What's your dream? That's where you got to live. That's where you got to live this year. Getting wrapped up in the daily bullshit, it's part of life too. The thing is that if you recognize it's happening, then what you got to do is you got to find someone to help you. The person yesterday that was stuck in resistance about perfectionism and I can't get my website up because it's got to be perfect was getting wrapped up in the here's how I do a blog post. Who the hell cares? Really. The mechanics of doing a blog post are not your job. The strategy of creating your blog post to drive traffic to your website and begin engagement with your customers and your prospects and turning them into customers, that's your job. Whoops, Diana, I think it's you in the background making all that noise.
Yeah.
Yep, see how you are? Okay, so does that follow for you guys? Does that make some sense? That you are bigger than those mechanics, and I'm not saying that the people that can do that work for you are less than you. I'm not saying that at all, because they are integral to your business, and they're just as important to you, because without that being done, you don't eat. But your job has got to be to drive the ship. You're not in the engine room, you're in the control room. You're the orchestra leader of the orchestra of your success, and you can't play every instrument. That doesn't mean you shouldn't learn and understand how the instruments work and work together. For example, um, tonight I put together a webpage. We're doing a webinar on Saturday at 11 o'clock Eastern time to offer our iBoostify site wrap to those who haven't yet gotten it, because they should have it. And my guys aren't working at this time, so I created all the stuff again. I did that clerical stuff because it needed to be done. Was I angry about it? I wasn't thrilled, but I know that I'm getting people closer to the mountaintop with me. So it's all part of that, and I do it with joy. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. We're doing this program right now. Am I out of my mind? Probably, but I'm having a great time with you guys. So I want you to be in that space, and only you can create that for yourself. Will you be frustrated? Absolutely. Will you be frustrated when things don't go right? Yeah, and things are not going to go right a lot of times. But there's something else you need to think about. What's the meaning of those? Oh, okay. Let's see something. Um, okay, yeah, Deborah, we're recording this, so no problem. Um, anyway, I lost my train of thought by looking at questions. I apologize. The key to me is really living in that understanding of your big dream, because we get so caught up in the mechanics of today and we forget about tomorrow, and you've got to get it moving. So I'm going to recommend that you start and you can start in two ways. I want you to start in two ways. Start way number one of looking at the big picture. What do you really want? What's your big, hairy, audacious, I want world peace goal? See, because way back when I was supposed to be walking away with six something $1 million with my real estate transaction in Costa Rica, which ended up being bankruptcy and the loss of houses and cars and friends and bankruptcies and all sorts of fun, exciting, life changing events. So from $6 million to supposedly losing all of it, and losing money is not losing anything. Losing money, in fact, losing houses gives you freedom, interestingly enough, because you can be anywhere you want in the world, since you don't have to worry about feeding those expensive habits. But here's the cool thing. When you focus on what you really want, what that end goal is, the rest of it seems to happen. It seems to happen on its own. So focus there. Look at what that is. That's number one. And then start to fill in the gaps between where you are today and where you want to be at whatever point that is, whether it's a year from now or 2 years from now, whatever. And start. And don't make it perfect. You may suck, or you may be great, but if you're real, you have a much better chance of being successful. And in fact, what you can do, what we suggested to this gentleman last night, was you can get started and say, "This is a beta. Help me out. This is a beta. Help me out." Don't be perfect. In fact, the more, like I said earlier, the smoother you are, maybe the worse you are. People aren't looking for that. Okay, so Oh, Sheila says, I thought your comments yesterday were great. A kick in the ass, really. My question is how to move out of overwhelm and get into action. I'm guessing it's breaking down to smaller pieces. Absolutely. You don't eat an elephant, how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. It's the same way. But here's the thing, you can't start to even eat it unless you know what you really want. You've got to understand that the end of and the why, like I said a minute ago, the why is the most important piece of this because you got to know why you're doing it. For me, I want you guys on a trip. And I got to tell you that my entire marketing plan for this year is going to be about the trip. And then, by the way, the second trip I believe is going to be Iceland. We've already that was the first trip actually planned was Iceland, and that was planned 6 years ago. Went there, did the fam trip, saw everything. We're going to have dinner in a cave, our final dinner at night. I mean, cool, really neat place. We're going to go snowmobiling. I mean, just it's outrageous. That's all part of it. We're going to go to Galapagos. We're going to do the Great Wall of China up until Russia became a complete nightmare with human rights. We were going to go to St. Petersburg. We're not going anywhere near Russia until they get their act together. So, we're going to go and explore the coolest places ever, and we're going to have a blast. And that's my dream. And to get people to come and be fun, I got to get them to the income level. And so my sales program is to have everyone visualize that future, and then we help them along the way. Think about that for how you build your business. Have them share your vision and have them attach themselves to the bigger vision rather than, am I buying a piece of software now? Am I buying a class now? Or am I buying the first step on my trip to Nepal? Do you follow what I'm saying? It becomes a much, much bigger piece now. Okay? That's the cool thing. I want you to think the big way and tie. How can you tie the world travel tours with world peace? Oh God, that's the easiest thing ever. How? You tell me. How can you tie world travels with world peace? Anybody want to jump in on that one? This one's easy. Go ahead. Who wants to play?
My talk?
Yeah, go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Well, you go places and you learn about people. You meet other people. You start to get like a glimmering as to what their culture is all about, how they function, and you cannot have anything but understanding for them after that point.
sure. That's a great start. How about if we take it a little bit even deeper?
Sure.
How about if on the tours that we do, and by the way, this is on our plan. We were going to do a 12-day trip. It's now 13 days. How about if on our tour we spend a day in a school with kids?
Oh, how about like lots of days in a school with kids?
Lots of what?
Lots of days in a school with kids.
Sure.
Kids know
Well,
what's
well,
going
well
on.
we can certainly do, and on a variety of trips. There's a lot of travel right now that is all about volunteer travel. That's really cool stuff.
Hmm.
In our case, and so it depends on how much of that you want to do. We're going to do
Hmm.
a day, and it's being set up for us right now. We're doing a day where it's a day of contribution. What is it? I have no clue yet. Doesn't matter as long as it makes an impact. And I like playing with kids for a lot of reasons. First of all, kids are fun. Kids are kind of innocent. But the other thing is that kids are the future. Kids are the future. Here was the dream for me when I was going to walk away with that $6 million. I'll tell you what that dream was. Daniel says, just be loved in the world wherever you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Celebrate people. Here in Thailand, by the way, when we acknowledge people on the street, we bow. And I shouldn't say bow, it's actually we nod, but we nod with our hands in prayer position. So I can't really describe it to you very well, but your hands get together in prayer position and your head nods down a little bit. And we acknowledge each other that way. It is the most wonderful thing ever. And when I come back to North America, they look at me like I'm out of my mind. But it is so nice and delightful to have that level of respect. What we were going to do was we were going to create the Wellspring Foundation, and what that was going to do was provide computers to kids, and that was nothing new. And I mean, that the computer for every kid was Nicholas Negroponte's idea, genius idea. It was supposed to be $100 for the computer. I think it's now like 160 or something. Great idea. But my mindset was, if we give the kids computers, let's give somebody a computer in, say, Nambia, for example, and we have that community have a sister community in Kansas or in Winnipeg or wherever or in Tokyo, and those two those two towns and those two schools, for example, are talking to each other, you now have some common bonds where people are seeing things in a bigger picture. People in the United States don't get passports, not anywhere like the rest of the world does. They don't travel as much because they think they are the, and I'm talking as an American, most Americans don't recognize that there's other parts of the world that are even more, far more advanced in so many different ways than America is. It's shocking, but it's true. My feeling is this: if we can have the kids, particularly in the restrictive cultures of the world, and I'm not going to name specific ones, but you can only imagine. But if we can take some of those kids that are living in a place of hate and have them exposed to children in other parts of the world, they can learn through education and through commonality that maybe the West or maybe Americans or maybe Canadians or whatever, they're not so bad. They're not so bad. And maybe all the stuff that they've been getting and all the oh hell, just the crap they're getting from their culture is not really right. And that's where the future, is. I don't know that we're gonna in our lifetime gonna see, everyone holding hands and singing "Kumbaya" in the Middle East. But if we can work with the kids to have the next generation grow with a bigger state of tolerance, we can make a change. You follow? So I want to play with. I want to start with the kids, and there we go. So Diane is talking about speaking to children in schools to help them make a difference in their lives. Absolutely, like one does in India. Deborah says a Japan trip. Michaela says, yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's what difference can you make, and it's a ripple. Our consciousness of the world is changing so much, and we're talking about this being an activation session, right? I stole that from my friend Michael Burnoff. I love Michael. Michael is really all about effectiveness. Michael talks about goals, and he says, in goals, don't set a goal to like lose weight. Set a goal to be consistent. Set a goal as sort of relative to what your qualities are, as opposed to something specific. Set a goal that I'm going to be, I'll make better decisions, or I'll make decisions at all rather than just being wishy-washy. If you can make decisions, you'll get the result. So think about the characteristics that you want to emulate and play with those. But see, the bigger picture is what's going to help you get your achievements accomplished, because you're going to give yourself the break and you're going to recognize why you're doing everything. It's that why that's so fundamental. Is that making sense, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Oh,
yeah. Okay, I thought somebody wanted to say something more. So here's the thing.
yeah, no, I just was agreeing. I just want to say, oh, yeah.
Okay, you can say, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, it's good. I like that." Okay, and that's the other thing. You can't do it being wimpy. Richard Branson, not so wimpy, not so wimpy. Elon Musk, not so wimpy. Elon Musk, who created Tesla, also he's like recreating the space program. I mean, the guy's just brilliant. His attitude, and I've heard some stories about him, and I'm forgetting a lot of what I heard. But the bottom line is, he basically said, "I think relative to NASA, we can do this better," and he just did it. And now I think NASA is like one of his biggest customers for one of his businesses, and maybe it's SpaceX, I forget. But he made a difference because he said, "Hell, I can do that." And so much genius is not accomplished because people don't give themselves that chance. So start something, get it working. For example, Excalibur is started. I can't not do a trip now. I mean, it's happening because I put myself on the line. I've told everyone the date is September 5th or maybe the 4th. I think we start the 5th, you come in on the 4th. And it's 13 days. It's done. We are live with it. We don't have a website for you yet. We will. The itinerary has already been delivered to me. I'm committed. What are you committed to? And what's the why? So as I beat this guy up yesterday with love, and I tried to deflect it to everyone else so he wouldn't feel like I was completely beating him up. I said, just do it. Here's a strategy I'll give you guys to play with that ties into it. Poetry helps the children. Diana says, yeah, whatever contribution you can make can ripple through the world. And if you can empower one person amazingly can make a big difference. Look at Nelson Mandela. Okay. I mean, look at Mother Teresa. Look at all these people that make a difference. Steve Jobs, for God's sakes. You're watching this presentation right now because he made my computer. He created it, and what he also created is a community of people that are like Jedi. I consider that as a Mac user, I'm like Jedi. And when I opened up my Mac and I set it up for the first time a few years back, and by the way, I'd resisted it for a long, long time. Um, there's music that played, and I almost cried. It was like the most magnificent experience ever. I felt now that I'm part of some select group that was exclusive. Now, is that weird? Maybe, but that's what he created. You can create the same thing in your business in every way it's you. Again, it's got to be you. If you're not sentimental, then don't be sentimental. Be who you are. If you're gruff, be gruff. Celebrate that. That's who you are. I mentioned that there are people that absolutely love Howard Stern. If Howard Stern was not Howard Stern, they hate him. People love Rush Limbaugh. Okay. And the Rush Limbaugh listeners and Rush Limbaugh lovers are probably not Howard Stern lovers. So you got to be who you are. More, you guys are seeing me evolve into, being even more of a me. There are people that just do not resonate with me. They don't. And you know what? God bless them. Goodbye. I don't want you. Why? Because I want to hang out with people that are cool. And I'm going to have to be me in order to resonate with people and be real. So you guys need to do the same thing. Here's a strategy you can play with. I learned this from Perry Belcher. And by the way, I sent out a promotion, I guess it was about a month or so ago, for the simple selling system. And it was also part of a promotion that Ryan Dice did with Frank Kern. The upsell on that from their free book was, I think it was the simple selling system or something else. But I'll tell you, it's $297. It was like the best $300 I spent ever, truly ever. And when you guys want to buy it, take my affiliate link. But here's the deal, okay? This is one of the best courses ever, and motivated me beyond belief. I love learning from people that are so creative, and Perry's just cool. Perry's just cool. Drinks beer on stage, which is like, as a speaker, I would never ever do that, but he's just cool. Anyway, he talks about one guy who comes into an event. He does live events, and you could do this in any fashion. So think about this from a strategy. But he comes in and he brings in 100 copies of his unreleased book. And he says, the book's not ready yet. It's not finished. It's not finished. It's not published yet. But honestly, I could use some help proofreading it and with any kind of suggestions or whatever. So if you would just do me a favor, buy my book. And by the way, everything that you spend on the book today is being donated to whatever charity he was donating it to. So this is not about me making any money. This is about a contribution to charity. Take the book home tonight, read it through, make whatever corrections or check the typos. Give me a count of the number of typos. The person with the largest number of corrections in the book wins $1,000. This was the match. This was the number, $1,000. Well, do you think that by the next morning, people had been through his material multiple times, and someone won the $1,000? But do you think his sales skyrocketed? Was he perfect? No, but he was perfect in his imperfection. That book, who knows how many years he's had that thing out, but what a tremendous strategy about being imperfect. So I want you guys to be thinking about your imperfection and how you can celebrate that. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be real. And you can even say, come to my really ugly webpage. You come to my work in process or work in progress rather. If you are transparent like that, I think you really help your business. Now, I'm not going to suggest, by the way, because I'm seeing a trend now, like with podcasters, where they're having they're posting their stats and they're posting their income reports. I think that's the dumbest thing ever. Now, mind you, I like knowing how much money other people are making. It's a nice barometer of measurement. But as an American, there is no way in hell you're going to have me telling anybody publicly how much money I am making. Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. IRS. It is nobody's business at all. And I won't ever release that. I'm real big on that kind of privacy. I think that's silly what they're doing. And I think it destroys their tax strategy. Because you can't exactly say, you can't exactly strategize if you're like letting the entire public domain know what you're doing. Does that make some sense? So I wouldn't necessarily go out with all of that. And you do what you want to do, of course. But let the bottom line passion play with you. Okay. Any questions or comments? Oh, come on, you guys. This is supposed to be more of a
Great
dialogue.
stuff, Ken. I
No,
love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you. See, here's
Can I
the
tell
thing.
you a little story?
Please.
Okay, it's quick. I
Okay.
was touring around teaching in different cities in Europe, and the very last city I was teaching in, right after that, I was going to Turkey, and I had organized a 2-week tour to Turkey. So I met everybody there,
Uh-huh.
and some of the girls asked me, when I was finished, they said, "Where are you going next?" And I said, "Oh, I'm conducting a tour. It's a cultural and dance tour to Turkey." They said, "Oh, how in the world would you do that?" And I said, "I have no idea. I've never done it before." So I'm going there, we had it set up. I had places to stay and just, off the cuff. And I did it I did them for 15 years.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, it's funny because you and I were supposed to get together when you were here in Thailand, and it's with you. I don't know where you are. It's really kind of cool. That's
Yeah,
that's
well, I'm going to start doing that again. I'm going to just get out of Nova Scotia. I'm in this village, I talked to you about
no,
that.
Nova Scotia is wonderful. It's you just got to do. It's
In
gonna
the summer for
it,
visiting.
it's got to be,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, exactly, right. So
yeah.
let me tell you, because we're hitting an hour, and I want to make sure that I get
Okay.
this content built in place. And then we can talk for a little bit more. I want to share with you the Institute for Totalpreneurship and what this is all about. First of all, let me ask you a question. What does the word totalpreneur mean to you?
You go for every aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm. Remember anybody else? Oh, come on. What does the word what does the word totalpreneur mean to you when you hear that word?
Taking risks
So go
that
ahead,
are
Sheila here.
Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
okay. I was going to say it's taking control risks that are reasonable to achieve your goals. Living on the edge to achieve.
Cool. I like that. Sheila?
Well, I got to tell you, obviously I'm demented because I thought that today's session was an add-on to Mark's session,
To Mark.
and this was going to Mark now Namwani, the session that we did yesterday,
Oh, okay.
Mark Nathwani,
Right.
and I thought
Oh,
this was
oh,
going
oh.
to take it to the next level. Okay, so I've lost my mind. I'll just go back to mute.
Oh, okay. So, and by the way, being demented's okay. I mean, that's fine. No, the thing. Here's the thing. We had a great session earlier this week with my buddy Mark Nathwani talking about how to use private label rights, and the information that he put in place was really huge. I mean, I've heard his presentation numerous times before because he's spoken for me many times before, and although not in about a year, and I took a bunch of notes myself because it was like, oh crap, I forgot about that stuff. So there are going to be a number of things that I implement based on what Mark was saying. In fact, look forward to a course on the master key system coming up, by the way, because all of us could use that. But here's the thing: all those strategies are meaningless unless you got purpose. They're all meaningless without purpose, right? Because otherwise, just going through the motions. And if you're going through the motions and you don't have that purpose, you're not going to last very long because it's your passion that's going to drive you through. Even if you ran that plumbing company, the passion for running the plumbing company, not because it's a plumbing company, for example, but because of what it means. It means your freedom. It means the new house. It means a healthier lifestyle. It means doing it right so that you can go away for a week or two or three with your kids. It means that if you structure it with systems in place, that you can have the quality of life that you do want to have. I mean, give it meaning. Meaning, the why is what gets you your freedom. So to me, the word totalpreneur means having everything. It means developing a business as an entrepreneur would, but a totalpreneur gives you the ability to have the dreams that you put in place as you began your entrepreneurship journey. It means having the lifestyle, having the house, having the health, having the holidays, having the world tours if that's what turns you on, having the ability to do volunteer work, whether it's working with Habitat for Humanity or going to Africa and being on a tiger and lion preserve and feeding them like my mom did. or going. My mom does like every other year she goes for like a month to Israeli air military bases and volunteers there for like a month. My mom's amazing. Okay, that to me is what a totalpreneur is about. And the definition is a definition for each and every one of you. It's what you want. And as we build the Institute for Totalpreneurship, you're all going to get to have that definition. We're going to be having a page where everyone defines it, because really it's about you. And the tagline became simple: life, business, balance. Here's the thing though, you're never going to be in balance, because as you build your business or as you build your life, you're going to be, for example, if you do a product launch, you're going to be working your butt off for hours all through the night. I mean, right now I haven't been to bed yet. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to leave here, in a few minutes and run straight to the airport. I've been up all night. I'm energized. Is it balanced? No, not at all. Is it fun? Hell yes. So the balance piece of it, probably, a misnomer. I've had people say, Ken, you can't possibly talk about life and business and balance, because it never is. And that's true. But the key is it's like a seesaw. And you gotta be moving it up and down and not have it all in one place. It's still gotta move. So that's, to me, is what the balance is all about. And you gotta recognize that. What we decided to do was this. I began this software company, and you guys know the brand is by Boostify, and that's our tool system. That does our site wrap program. We've got something called Storycast coming out. We have our LinkedIn automation software. We have all sorts of amazing things that are really powerful and top quality and not cheap and cheesy, $7 nothings. These are things that really make a tremendous difference in the way you run your business. Because I want to add value. I want to make a difference. I don't want to just sell crap, right? But I realized that the real value there isn't necessarily the automation, it's the strategy behind the automation. And so not only did I create, the term totalpreneur, and by the way, I own the term. I own totalpreneur.com, and we're trademarking it. So real excited about that. But it resonated for me so much that that's really my identity now. It's not that my business is my identity, but the idea of having it all and having the lifestyle and having the wealth is important to me. And what's interesting is that people have seen this logo, it's resonated for them too. So we're going to put together a curriculum for you that's going to revolve around 5 main areas. And I probably should have made a slide for this, but to me, it's 5 main areas. And for those of you that are in the vortex mentality, this is my vortex. Okay, for those of you who know what I'm talking about here, it starts out. And by the way, with Excalibur. Excalibur is my Camelot, if you will. Where King Arthur's Round Table, where everyone works together for the good of all, and it's all about chivalry. So to me, we're on a quest, and the quest is to have a much better quality life. The quest is to really build and enjoy. So for me, it's like 5 quests. The first one is the quest for the ultimate customer. It's the quest for the customer or the client that is someone you want to do business with. For example, if you're a chiropractor, for example, and your passion is to work with seniors to give them better mobility in their senior years so they can better enjoy their lives, then your ultimate customer is not a kid. It's not a high schooler. It's not a sports guy it's a 20-year-old skateboarder. It's somebody else. It's somebody else, right? So you've got to find the right person for you. For example, with me, my ultimate person is someone that dreams about the future, is willing to do what it takes to get there, will tell the truth to him or herself. In other words, get past the personal bullshit. And by the way, we all do it. We all need people, I think, to look at us as a mirror and say, you can do better than that. Or, when are you going to stop telling yourself that story so you can get past it? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you're human. We're all that way. That's why we have coaches, right? So my ultimate person is a person that wants something for the future, is self-confident enough to be willing to say, I need help, or to ask for help, or to work with other people, and is someone that is really driven and will have fun, is adventurous and will have fun. If you're not a fun person, I don't want you. We had somebody that sent in a complaint the other day. We got it in our support line, that was upset that we schedule the webinars. Usually it's a default at 90 minutes, and we ran late. We ran like 2 hours or whatever, and this person was upset, unprofessional. And truly, she's right. But it was like, you know what? You got 45 minutes more value from me of my time because I actually gave a damn, and that was a problem for you. Not my ultimate person. Do you guys follow? Next. If that's where you're wrapped, then not interested. So I'm sorry, Matt's sending me a message. I can't tell what he's saying. Matt, are you in the chat room here? Anyway, so the bottom line is the right person, the right customers, right clients. Um, and by the way, if for example, if you have an investment company, your right client is going to be someone that's got money or has got a job, or you know what I mean. It's someone who can actually afford to buy what you got. So it's the right person. Next one is the quest for.
Ken?
Yeah,
Hey, Ken?
yeah,
Before you go on, can I tell you something real quick?
sure,
I'm the one, I don't know, you probably couldn't read it, but in the chat there, I wrote, when you said the quest for the ideal customer,
yeah,
I was also thinking of the totalpreneur, how, you're looking always also for the ideal colleague, venture partner, staff, friend, everybody in your life that is right for you, that helps catapult you into the success that you want to be. I don't know if you know Keen shoes, but they're an action shoe, and
yeah. I
Martin
have,
Keen, the design.
yeah,
Yeah, Martin Keene is my neighbor, and I was walking one day and I saw him. I say, "Hey, Martin, how you doing?" And every time I stop with him, we just get these mind-blowing little conversations going. And he says to me, I said to him, Martin, I've been thinking about you lately. I'm not surprised I ran into you because I've been wanting to ask you. Have got this new product that is just taking off. One of his clients is Google. And I said to him, how do you get people in your team that do well? The vast majority of people out there, that's a big complaint I hear over and over and over again with business owners, is that they have horrible staff. They can't find people that work with them. And he just looked at me and he said, well, you look for winners. You look for winners. You look for people who are already winning in some way, whether it be a sport or mastering an, an, um, an instrument. He said, you look for that winning energy. And I thought that goes right along with what you're talking about, the quest for the ideal customer.
yeah. Thanks. And you know what? You can take it to another level, and I may need to add something along with that. That'll be probably in number three, the quest for the ideal team, because you have to have the same team working with you that will still empower you. I've been very, very lucky to build that over the years, because it's got to follow through. Vishen Lakiani, who created Mind Valley, has an unbelievable group of people that work with him in Malaysia. I mean, and his office is kick ass. I mean, they've got a treehouse in their office. I mean, it's really cool, and he's won awards for it. They built an environment that's very collaborative, and they train people like nobody's business. I mean, I was in their office a couple months ago. Maybe it was longer than that now. And as they give tons of tours of their office, you can see on people's desks there's all sorts of those internet marketing courses that we've all bought, and they share them all. I mean, there's just a massive library, and they want everyone to learn. And they will take people that have ideas, and they will joint venture and partner those ideas to keep people within the company. And there's all sorts of entrepreneurship within that company. Really cool stuff. So building teams is really important. And by the way, don't have any doubt about empowering your people and rewarding them and acknowledging them, because without them, you can't work anyway. I mean, my team is real important to me. They're family, and really we look out for each other. So that's really, really important. And by the way, the end result of that, as a business owner, as a manager, is you're going to get more value from them. You're going to get more contribution. My guys, when there have been times when they've worked all night with me, just because the job's got to get done, because they actually care. And no secret, most of my guys, actually all my guys, are in the Philippines. And I say guys, I've got men and women. They're in the Philippines For those of you that that are site wrap customers, Matt, our programmer, is in the Philippines. He loves what he's doing. I mean, he's still up right now. By the way, it's now what 6 o'clock in the morning for him, and just because he's just sent me a Skype message, and Matt's still working. He's so passionate about our iBoostify site wrap program, our software. I mean, he's thrilled to pieces about doing it, and we bring him onto our webinars. We bring him into our masterminds, our mastermind programs. Why? Well, first of all, if you have questions, why wouldn't you want to talk to the programmer? Because I sure as hell don't know how it works. I mean, I know what it does, but I mean, if you guys have a problem, I sure can't answer it in a lot of cases, but Matt can. And if there's something that needs assistance or whatever, or there's an idea, we leverage off of each other. So why would I not have the baker of the cake in the room? Some people won't do that. If you involve your people and empower them that way, you'll grow dramatically. But I'm digressing. Let's go to number two. Number two is ultimately it's customer monetization, I call it customer development, and that is having the person come back, and it's really improving and increasing the lifetime value of your customer and turning them into raving evangelists. So it's having them come back more to buy over and over and over again, and to have them increase the size of their orders in whatever fashion that may be. So if you're a consultant, it's having them buy more consulting services. The only way they're going to do that, however, is if you do what, my friends? What's going to happen? What's going to have to happen for them to come back for more? Come on, you know the answer to this one. What's going to have to happen?
You have to give them value.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You got to give them value. And by the way, if you give them value and they come back for more, is it likely then that they will become raving evangelists? Answer, of course. And by the way, if you create a group of people that are raving evangelists that will go, holy crap, these guys do an amazing job, then how much money do you have to spend on marketing? Probably a whole lot less, because that word of mouth will feed you forever. It's that simple. It really is that simple. Is it overnight? No, of course not. But it's something that you grow and develop into. For years, when I was selling real estate in Philadelphia many years ago, I created a real estate column. It was called On Real Estate, very creative. And every other week, I think it was, I wrote this column in the local newspaper in Center City, Philadelphia, major large city in the United States. And that thing fed me. That's all I did, was that thing fed me. And people told people and told people and so on. And that's where my money got made for years and years. So you don't have to go wild and crazy. You just really need to find one thing and do one thing. And I'm digressing, but some people get wrapped up in trying to do everything. Just pick one and do one, get it right, and go do the next one. Okay. So that's number two. It's client development, customer development, and evangelism, raving evangelism. Number three, really important, is operations, procedures, and systems, OPS. Operations, procedures, and systems. And that relates to how you hire, who you hire, the software systems that you use, your autoresponder series, the mechanics of how you run your business. If you have a physical plant, meaning, you have an office like a dentist or a chiropractor or a massage therapist or whatever, it's your rent, it's the way your office looks, it's your systems. How do you process your business? When a support ticket comes in, for example, how is it managed? All those systems need to be put in place and documented so you have sanity, because so much of what you do is really going to be repetitive. Mind you, if you're even if you're a dentist, every mouth is different, but every procedure is the same. If you're going to do heart surgery, there's still, cut the guy open, watch the bleeding, look for this, look for that, sew it up, close him up. I mean, there's still a process. And by adding process to your business, you add a lot of certainty, which makes things easier. You also allow yourself the ability to grow, because now you can hand someone the manual or the link to your wiki online and say, here it is, here's the videos, watch it and do it. And you're done. Your training costs go down, your effectiveness goes up, your morale goes up. And by the way, people won't get in trouble anymore. I read this book called Work the System. I may have that wrong. Really good book. And what this gentleman says, he runs a telephone answering service in, I think it's Oregon, and it's giant. Centratel, I forget the name of it now. But he was a slave to his business for years and years, and finally found religion and put together this procedure thing. And what he says to people is, as long as you follow the procedure, if something goes wrong, if you follow what you're supposed to do, you're not in trouble at all. If you don't follow it, you'll get in trouble. If you do follow it and things got broken, well, then we need to find out what's wrong, but you're not in trouble. In fact, if you find a solution to it, even better. So that's going to be really important. Those operations, very, very, very important. Okay. Martin says, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the same. It's true. Everything that you do, I mean, driving the car, airplanes, before your pilot takes your plane into the sky tonight, an A380 packed with a lot of people. All right. The pilot's going to go through his checklist. That's part of the operations, procedures, and systems. Okay. The caterers are going to go through their checklist. The flight attendants are going to go through their checklist. Everyone's going to follow those systems, or that plane ain't getting up in the air. And we surely hope that the people at Airbus followed their systems and procedures when they built the thing. So you're doing the same thing. Okay. And by the way, it's real important. Are you going to have it right the first time? Of course not. Are you going to leave things out? Absolutely. But if you have one of the focuses being putting your business together in a sanity fashion, okay, you'll be in great shape. And actually, I just realized I got 5 fingers on that hand and I got 5 elements. This is pretty cool. It worked out really nice. Number 4. Number 4 is, what the hell is number 4? I just forgot. Number 4 is your inner game. It's mastering and winning your inner game. And I'm calling that actually the quest for personal excellence. So here's the thing. Unless you believe in yourself, unless you master the internal resistance that's going on with inside you, unless we deal with some of the self-esteem things that are going on, you're going nowhere. Unless we look at your belief systems and your value systems and enhance those, you'll stay small. You can try, you can struggle, and like I've done for years, but unless you finally believe in yourself, and change your internal language to give yourself permission to succeed, to allow for mistakes to be made, every single one of us has screwed up. And by the way, you will screw up again. I promise you. Question is, how are you going to do it? And even better than that, when you do screw up, how are you going to handle it? How are you going to handle it? Yesterday, for example, or a couple of days ago, we had this tremendous webinar with Mark Lithwani. Mark sold his brains out. Our closing ratio on that was about 30%. Really good. I mean, really, really good. And then the shit hit the fan. We had a problem with his website. There was a problem with WorldPay, which is who he uses to process payments on his members area. And what I just learned is that WorldPay thought that all the orders coming in were fraud. So it stopped all of them. People couldn't get their product and they weren't happy. Despite the fact that we built rapport with our audience, they were, they got unhappy pretty quick. So what do? Okay. Do you run, or do you do what the people at Johnson & Johnson did when they had the Tylenol scare? Do you just jump in and say, okay, guys, we got a problem. Let's fix it. So I sent an email to everybody saying, here's where we are, and let me know if it's not corrected. I'll jump in and see what I can do. Whatever, as long as you show people you care, you're light years ahead of everybody else. And by the way, with operations, persistence, there you go, persistence, that's procedures and systems together. Your support area is really important. And as long as you answer your support tickets in a manner where you actually give a damn, you'll be incredibly successful. Hospitals have discovered that when how do they solve malpractice issues right now? They tell the truth. They say they're sorry. The insurance companies hate that stuff because they think it admits liability. But all people really want to know is that you gave a damn about them. Shit happens. But if you actually care, what's that?
Ken, it's Sheila here.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I was one of those people that had trouble the other day with Mark's stuff, and I just went to bed and thought, you know what, it'll be solved in the morning. And in the morning, I had already had an email from his folks, an email from you, an email from your folks. It was like, okay, guys, it's solved. It's good. It's all good. And I thought to myself, I don't think I've ever had that much response to anything. And I thought to myself, okay, so this is really an interesting way for me to feel about Mark's stuff and about, the folks that were working for you. So it was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And Jeff said he's still not being able to complete the process. Jeff, Mark sent me an email that said for the 10 people that are still having problems, send them the link. So in the email, for those of you that are part of this, in the confirmation email that we sent to you, there's a link to get set up. Start over again is what you got to do. I sent it to my support lady. I've just been straight out getting ready to fly out here and get ready for today, for our presentation today. So um, all you got to do is start over again. Apparently it works, but apparently what happened is WorldPay thought it was fraud or something crazy. I don't understand that, but in any event, that's the case. We had a fallback position, which Matt reminded me about, and that is I have a valid account. I mean, I've had it open for years. So the backside of it was I was going to give everybody my password, so you can go in and use my account until your account's set up. I mean, we'll do whatever it takes. And that's the point. People, if you're comfortable enough in your own skin, people will play with you. Because yeah, Martin just said, shit happens. It does, and things are going to break. Things are going to break. So all you can do is the best you can to fix it. If some people don't want to hang in there, you're going to lose some sales. Okay, it's what it is. But all you can do is the best you can. Finally, the last one. The last one is this, and that is the quest for the lifestyle of awesomeness. What's the lifestyle of awesomeness? To me, it's that. To me, it's being able to go on an 11-day trek with my mom, who's 79 years old, and climb up to the top of a mountain. And she got tired for a little bit. We put her on a horse. She was hysterical. She was laughing her brains out. She loved it. And I said, Mom, her birthday is in April, and she'll be 80. I said, we got to figure out what we're going to do for your birthday. She said, you can't possibly top this. This was it. This was amazing. And this woman travels all over the world. She's been to Antarctica. She's been to the Arctic Circle. She calls herself bipolar now. She's been all over the world, and she said this was the ultimate. I'm trying to get her to come to Nepal again with us. I think she will. That's another secret reason why I moved it to September, because she was going to be doing something else that time in May. But that to me was amazing, to spend that time with my mom. She just had the best time ever, and she's a cool lady. So the lifestyle of awesomeness is up to you as to what that is. What does it mean? Is it spending more time with your kids, spending more time volunteering and so on? What is it? It sure as hell isn't spending time in your office, right? It's spending time doing the things you've dreamed about doing. And understand that that lifestyle of awesomeness is still going to relate to involving your business, because your business is going to support that lifestyle. So why should they be separate? They need to be, in my view, they need to be holistic. They need to be like that tree, where you actually create the magic. You create that magic. And by the way, that magic tree was designed by a gentleman who's probably, I think Fricks is like 23 years old. He's my graphic designer. He's been with us for over 2 years. He's incredible. He comes up with just magic, and we have a great collaborative relationship. That's the building of the team. We're going to put together a video. I asked him today to put together a video showing every emulation of the logo, so you can just see how it just went together. Because I think it's the growth, and people see that. So those are the 5 elements, or the 5 quests that we're going to be on over the course of this year and into the future with the Institute of Totalpreneurship. There's going to be courses in every area. Obviously, the one that's going to have the most content is going to be the quest for the perfect client and customer. So we're going to be doing things on blogging, and doing things on Facebook ads, and doing things on writing copy, and all of that. And we're gonna bring in people that are pros, people that are smarter than me, so that we really have a wide variety of education and training. And we're gonna run 5 tracks. There will be coaching programs we're going to develop, and we're going to develop this to just fill in the gaps. And it'll be obviously styled in the style you're experiencing right now. It's all going to be straight out giving you the content. Now, something else that we want to do. I'm going to be sending out to you over the next few weeks after I get back from the cruise, surveys and questionnaires, and just to get to know more about what everybody wants individually, because I know I don't have all the answers. When can I re-listen? Well, yeah, let me just answer that question real quick. On the replay, since I'm like going straight to the airport, replay is going to be probably about a day or so later than you usually get. Usually replays are up within a few hours, because I'm anal retentive about that. But I can't exactly access the internet while I'm on the airplane, I don't think. And the bandwidth won't be that great. So it's going to be a day or so. before I get on the cruise for sure. You'll see the replay. Anyway, here's the thing. There are people that want more from me than I've ever been willing to give. I've never wanted to do a coaching program. I've never wanted to do one-on-one. I just didn't want to do that. Didn't want to put the time in until a few days ago, when I got on the phone with somebody and I felt his passion, and I also felt that if I didn't jump in and help him, he was going to get eaten alive by everyone else that wants to drive him down different areas and sell him everything under the sun. Can you guys relate to that? I mean, I was just like, you know what? I need to help you. So I broke my own rules and I created a coaching program. And I'm not selling anybody anything tonight, understand? But what I decided to do was this. Oh, by the way, do you guys love these T-shirts? I mean, Fricks created these T-shirts, and by the way, today I printed 3 of these. Had them made here in Thailand. They were made for $5. These T-shirts. I mean, just incredible. We have coffee mugs made now. It's incredible. Really happy. Anyway,
Need a French cut style for the girls.
I think we can handle that. Mine's actually a V-neck. These are stock pictures. This Fricks just took the logo and put it on a stock picture. I mean, he's amazing with what they do. I would like to be that thin. Anyway, what I decided to do, and you can go over to totalpreneur.com/mentor. What you're going to see there is a survey. It's just a questionnaire. If you want to play, we got to see whether it makes sense. Remember, for me, number one is the search for the perfect customer. If you want to work with me, I need to know who you are. I need to know what you want to accomplish. I need to know whether I can help you, and I need to know if it'll be fun. If it's not going to be fun, I'm not going to do it. And we'll create something that'll make some sense. I've got a couple of ideas as to what would be a really great program to play with, that will help. And of course, everything we do will have my style and transparency. So if this is cool for you, just go over to totalpreneur.com/mentor. We're not doing the make $100 deposit or the $1,000 thing that Frank Kern does. There are a lot of questions in there. I think there's like 10 or 12 questions, and they're not horribly intrusive, but they're like questions that you'll think about for a little bit. And I didn't make this an online form because there was no time. It's a Word doc. You download it. You can either fill it out on your computer and just email it back to us, or you can fax it back. There's a fax number. It's a U.S. fax number. Whatever. If I can help you, I'm happy to do it. It's going to be fun. Will I be doing one-on-one stuff for a lot of people? Oh, no. There's no way. There's no time in my day to do that. But will I do it for people that are just like totally cool and fun to be with? Yeah, absolutely. Because for me, it's going to be fun, and it will also teach me more about what I need to do to better serve the larger community as a whole. Because what we're going to do is we're going to have Google Plus groups and probably Facebook group. We're going to do stuff. We have a LinkedIn channel as well. We're waiting for the graphics to come in on that. So there's all sorts of stuff coming, and the more I learn about what all of you all want, the more I can better serve. I know what I want to teach, but I also recognize that I need to serve you, and it's what you need. So there you go. So now let's see. What was the question here? Am I going to get the link? Tanya, you're going to get the link to the replay when I create it, and it ain't going to be tonight. Okay. But I promise you'll have that. Of course you will. Absolutely. By the way, I didn't market the hell out of this, as you can probably realize. There were just a couple of emails that went out, and that was it. I knew that if it resonated for some people, they would come. This is not for everybody. This really isn't for everybody. I would much rather have a smaller group of people that are playing with me that are fun to be with. The larger group will come to the new podcast that's going to be happening probably in February. I think we're going to call it the TotalPreneur Show, because it seems to be logical. And that's going to be coming as soon as I get off the cruise. One of my objectives on the cruise is to hang out with my podcast mentor, who has this incredible podcast called the Business Boost, and Michael, I'm forgetting his name now. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name all of a sudden. But nonetheless, I mean, he's built a model where people pay $20 a month, and they get 5 days of him plus 2 different podcasts, and he's got thousands of people, thousands paying him $20 a month, $20 a month. It's the beginning of a complete funnel, and really, he's not really monetized it very much. He's starting to. but that's the way to get people starting to go in. And so we're going to look at all those different pieces. And if we're going to do any kind of work together, I'm not going to let you get scattered. I will beat you. I won't let you go in too many different areas, because you got to be laser focused. You got to do one thing and get some results. So anyhow, that's the opportunity, if you will, if you all want to play and do some fun stuff together. We are at now 90 minutes, and I promised we wouldn't go any longer than 90 minutes. So Scott Smith, thank you, Michaela. Thank you. Yes, Scott Smith. He will be on the cruise. I missed him on the cruise last year. I can't believe it, but there are a couple of things I need to hear from him. So thanks, Sheila. Let's see. Let me see what Sheila said. I really need some help with the technology side. For example, I know I belong to Boostify, but I don't know how to access. Honestly, I'm scattered, need to focus. Can you refer me to one of your staff? Yeah, right now, at the very least, send something to the support line. I'm not completely sure what you need, but we'll figure it out. And if you want to do some more direct stuff with us, that's really cool. Thanks, Deborah. Appreciate that. But anyway, I'm happy to serve you and help you. This is not going to be for everybody, of course. But moving forward, we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. On Saturday, if you're not familiar with our iBoostify site wrap software, you gotta come Saturday and see the presentation. It's, aside from the fact that it's just gonna be fun, it can change the way you market completely. For those of you that are iBoostify site wrap customers, you got an email from me already, because you're all affiliates and you have the opportunity to actually promote it and sell it, and you get 50% of everything that we sell, and it's been selling pretty well. So, and you know what? You'll sell well with passion. I got to tell you, you may have a really crappy pitch, but when your heart comes through, you're 80% of the way there. It's really, really amazing. It's really amazing. So when you're heart based, you still got to do, the right things. You got to have value. You've got to have an offer that makes sense. But the difference between a killer presentation and an okay presentation is who you are. So let it be consistent with who you are. Let that passion come through. This year, it's about effectiveness. This year, it's about overcoming your resistance. This year, it's about really getting the results that you want, that you deserve. This year, it really is about being a totalpreneur, accepting nothing but the best for yourself and doing what the heck it takes. And if you don't have the answers, you get the answers. It's that simple. So, for Saturday, there'll be a replay, Sheila, for sure. So anyway, any questions, you guys, before we blow out of here? Any comments, questions, takeaways?
Have an absolutely wonderful trip.
Thank
Ken.
you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anybody
Safe
else?
journeying, Ken.
Thank you. What did you guys get from today? What was your takeaway from today, or takeaways?
Just do it.
Good.
Get up off my ass and create the peace code, which is exactly what I'm doing.
I love that name. Anybody else? Some of you guys are still quiet. We got to work on that. Anybody else? Marcus says, thank you. Did not get Saturday invitation. Well, if you own the software already, you should have gotten it. If you don't own the software, you didn't get it because the mailing didn't go out yet. It's not going to go out till I get to the airport, because I'm not going to have time to get till then. Expect the best in 2014. Absolutely. Diana says, do it. Debbie says, feel the fear and do it anyway. Yes, feel the fear and do it. In fact, Tony Robbins says this: if I can't, I must. Write that one down. If I can't, I must. Because you know what? You just got to make it work. You got to make it work. Now, it doesn't mean you got to do it on your own, which is why I made the offer to help you all, okay, in a different fashion than just like running regular webinars, okay? But we're going to create this community, and there'll be different levels of playing, But you can't do it all on your own. You really can't. Saeed says, focus, show passion, add value, and have an offer. Yes, absolutely. People will pay for service, and give yourself that gift. That's one reason why I never did mentorship. Passion, Ferdy says. James is very inspiring. It's my year. It sure as hell is, and it's mine too, for all of you. Jody says, don't have to be perfections. Just do it. Absolutely. Just get started. Diana says, kick your butt and just do it. Sheila says, look forward to working with you. Have you landed, my friend? Thank you so much. Yes. When you give yourself the ability, and you give yourself the freedom and give yourself the forgiveness It's amazing the magic that will come. When Totalpreneur hit my head and I woke up with it and I found that it was available online. Holy mackerel. I mean, I was just like, I was on cloud nine. It was just so perfect for me. So my take for you is that when you allow yourself to have what you want, it will magically happen. Go into all the spirituality that you want, and I'm all over that stuff. I mean, it's great, and I believe in every bit of it. But wherever you stand on spirituality, the fact of the matter is that when you start resonating that energy, it really does come your way. So there you go. Daniel says, give more value than what you've given. Yeah, pass that on. It comes back. It really comes back. I didn't know what today was going to be with us. I just knew that I wanted to give you something and I wanted to get you moving this year. And what I will ask for all of you is that you stay in touch. I mean, not like we're not going to be staying in touch, but I mean, I want to hear your success stories. I want to hear what's going on with you. And, as we build a community and as the Institute for Totalpreneurship grows and takes off, like I said, we'll have different membership levels and stuff, but we're going to have, we're going to create a community and you're going to start it. You're going to help us with it, inevitably just by playing. And I'll ask you to help recruit and get us other people. Interestingly enough, I'll leave you with one or maybe two final thoughts. Way back many years ago in New York, Andy Warhol did these things called salons, and the salon was basically like a cocktail party. People hung out and talked, and it was basically like a high level mastermind group, but social. And how he built it was he said, "Here's the deal: you can come, but next time you got to clone yourself. You got to bring somebody else interesting." So I want to see if there's a way to do that virtually, where in the next event you bring somebody, and they have something that's interesting about them. I don't know how we do that virtually, but I think it just came to me as I talked to you just now that may be the way to build something really fun. Is that each person brings someone the next time, and that way we grow and we just provide value and go from there. And maybe there will be some things to sell, and why wouldn't there be? For example, when I mentioned Perry Belch's program, everybody needs to buy that. Everybody does. It's so damn good. I mean, listen, if you can find ways to get motivated, to find new and creative ways to make money and build your business and have fun doing it, wouldn't you want it? Of course you would. So that's not selling, that's serving. It's absolutely serving. So I want you to take that approach. What Diana says, when you make your website, it's okay if you make it not right because you can keep fixing it. Of course, you always will. It'll always develop. I love your ideas and vision. You've inspired me today. Thanks. That's great. Debbie, we want you. We hear your success stories. Yeah, I will. I'll tell you all about, especially you, Debbie. Debbie, I am being Debbie on the Marketer's Cruise because poor Debbie can't make it. So I'm going in her stead, and I will represent you, my dear, with pride. So I thank you for that opportunity, by the way. I lost the train of thought. I was going to go on, and I got to get out of here. Thank you all so very much. Feel free. Any comments, questions, whatever, support at totalpreneur.com. Just send us notes. Rose is one of my team, and she looks at everything right now. We will take abundant care of you. I love you guys so much. I thank you for hanging out with us. This has been tremendous for me. I'm very grateful and honored for you to have spent your time with me today. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Thanks, Ken.
Take care. See y'all.
Bon voyage. Thank you,
All right.
Ken.
Okay, bye guys. Take care. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.